Good morning, everybody. How are you? This is Robin Link. And oh, hey, Goddess 74, how are you? You're the first one on. I'm Robin Link, and oh my goodness, I'm a mess today. Anyway, I'm a life coach and a life strategist, and I'm a healer, and I am here to help you guys just feel great about yourself so you can live the best life that you want to live. And I am here today with your energy forecast. So I see a couple other people jumping on. Hello, hello. How are you? How are you? How are you? And welcome to April 27th. Thanks for the hearts. We're here to do your forecast for April 27th. I have to keep looking at the calendar through May 3rd. May. Really, May. I can't even. I feel like I just did March 1st. Anyway, excuse me, I'm sorry. Sometimes these early morning forecasts, I'm not quite awake yet. So we're starting Mercury Retrograde tomorrow. It lasts for about 3 weeks. April 28th is the day. I don't know how that spins out if you're on, I don't know how that spins out if you're on the other side of the hemisphere. But it goes until, I think, around May 22nd. So just a little disclaimer about Mercury retrograde. It's really just a time to just be aware and be more mindful of what's going on in your world. Okay? It's nothing to get scared about, and especially in the New Age community, that's all you hear. It's like for the days coming up to the Mercury retrograde, and then for the days following the Mercury retrograde, that's all we hear about. And you know what? What you focus on expands, right? So if we're going to focus on how Mercury retrograde causes all kinds of problems, and it can create some inconveniences, okay? You want to give yourself a little extra time before, if you're traveling someplace. And you want to make sure your T's are crossed and your I's are dotted, because if you're signing contracts, which they say is not a great idea, simply because the energy is there. Mercury is about communication, and Mercury is about, hey, Barbara, and Mercury is about travel and all that kind of stuff. So the energy is going to, it can have an influence, I'm going to say, on anything related to communication, whether it's written, whether it's spoken, and it can have an influence on travel, and it can have an influence on mechanical stuff and whatever. So instead of getting worried about Mercury retrograde and start, oh my God, what's going to go wrong, blah, 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 move into a more empowered space. Oh, okay, when Mercury is retrograde, these are the things that have a tendency of showing up. So let me make sure I have air in my tires. Let me make sure I have gas in my car. Let me make sure I leave 10 minutes earlier than I normally need to. Let me, you can't stop your life. And so if you have to buy a new car, or you're going to sign a contract or something like that, if it can't be helped, then, put out a prayer and get really present and take extra time looking over the paperwork. That's all. This is, you have power to create life the way you want it to be created. And so just because you can't always change outside influences, it doesn't mean that you can't change how you react to it. So please, this Mercury retrograde, instead of running under a blanket and hiding, instead of complaining, which is all just going to make it a fuck of a lot worse for you, be empowered. Just be mindful. And the other thing is, it's a great time to go within and look at the parts of yourself. I mean, Mercury is all about right? The retrograde, all revisit, revise, renew, reinstate, review, all these words, right? So cool. The energy, just as it's supportive of all these little, tweaks and possible inconveniences, it's also, hey, I see more people. It's also about looking within and reviewing what you might want to let go of, and maybe revising a program or a plan that you that you have in mind, right? Use the retrograde energy to your benefit. Be aware of what can be a challenge, and then use it to your advantage. So good for you, Jen. That's awesome. She's looking forward to some of the retrograde, because she wants to utilize the energy to go within. I mean, us healers, we're crazy. We're like, oh, retrograde, bring it on. Anyway, so that's my disclaimer about Mercury retrograde. Let me get on to the energy of the week. And I'm laughing hysterically because, historically, confusion is part of retrograde for a lot of people. And confusion because of the possibilities and the likelihood for miscommunication. And that's not only person to person, that's also source and everything else. I don't know why, but we do tend to get confused. And yet, the supportive energy, the theme of the upcoming week is clarity. So that right there is a sign of how times are changing, how paradigms are shifting. Clarity during retrograde, holy cow, how phenomenal is that? So I'm really, really excited, and I have to say, personally, clarity has been coming up for me more and more, even in a business sense. I'm gonna shift things again. And I'm shifting them again because I got some clarity, and well, you know what I experienced, I'll tell you about it as I pull the cards, because it actually is a great real world example of how it's all working. So we have clarity, okay? And that's the theme. The supporting energy is stillness and quiet, right? And what did I say to you this week? It's about, going within and getting into having that conversation with your inner self. And how do you do that? Well, you get still, you get quiet. Maybe it's meditation, maybe it's just simple, real, strong presence, okay? And so that's what I had done to get the clarity that I have now relating to my business. So the energy that's going to be a challenge is letting go. Isn't that always a challenge? Letting go. We're us as humans, man. The soul part of us knows how much we need to let go of things, non-attachment, right? And that's what letting go is. It's just that non-attachment. But the human in us is like, no, I gotta have it. I can't let it go. I can't. What's gonna happen if I let it go? I'm gonna die. And it was funny because I had a teacher explain it to me this way. Hopefully I can explain it as well. In terms of letting go and in terms of change and all that. When you think about it, our brain is programmed to help us survive, okay? So check this out. If you're living in shitty circumstances, or you have survived shitty circumstances, that's now etched in your brain. That's programmed in your brain. I know how to survive this. So shitty circumstance equals survival. So now when you try to bring in a change and something new, which in your heart and your soul knows is not a shitty circumstance and is actually going to give you a better life, spiritually, emotionally, and physically, your brain is like, oh, no, 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 no. We don't have experience with that. So if I don't have experience with it, then it's a threat. Bring back the shitty circumstance. And I'm going to do everything I can to remind you, human, that you survive the shitty circumstance. You know how to, so that's how you live. We don't know what to do without it. We don't know. We don't have a whole lot of experience with surviving without that shitty circumstance. Isn't that crazy? Like, I've always known this, but just the way she explained it to me, like, I always went back to, well, that's our comfort zone. We're so used to it. It's a comfort zone. But then when she had, spoke about it in terms of survival, everything that you have survived gets put into your brain, right? I know it's a huge aha, Jen. So everything that you survive gets put in your brain as you survive. And there's a difference between surviving and thriving, right? And this is why, I'm always learning. It's because if nothing else, somebody teaches you the same thing that you've been working with forever, but speaks it in a different way that you integrate it on a different level. So, think about this. People who have been in abusive relationships, even down to children who've been sexually molested, okay? Think about the imprint on their brain. It was a horrible, horrible experience, but they survived it. And they know it's a survivable experience. So they can repeat this in many different ways as they go on in life. And you know what? It's not because they have bad karma. It's not because they did something wrong. It's not because they have a curse against them. And yeah, that can be part of it. But that's not the main thing, right? It's simply because it's what their brain knows and has learned that they can survive. So having a loving, supportive relationship is not something they know that they can survive on the human level. How freaking cool is that? And personally, I talk about my own relationship with my partner, with David, and, he still loves me more than I love myself. And I'm very used to having relationships where I've had to not be myself, and I have had to adjust my personality and adjust my wants and needs and whatever in order to keep the flow of love coming, right, towards me. And with my David, I don't have to do that. Now, we're together almost 8 years, and I have to tell you, every day it's a practice. Because I had, at that point, I'm 51, so what was it, 43 years of being a certain way and of learning a certain way of survival, right? So that now over these 8 years, it's still a daily practice of being myself. Yeah, Jen, absolutely. We become different people in relationships. And that's exactly it. So when you find a relationship, whether it's a love relationship or whether it's a friendship with somebody where you can actually be yourself, it's fucking scary. And you don't believe it's gonna last, right? But here's the thing. When you start seeing that even for 3 days you are able to be yourself and have this relationship, even if the other shoe is going to drop, Barb, you still survived those 3 days in a reciprocal relationship where you were able to be you and receive love and give love. Right? So what it does is it gives the brain, even if it's a short experience, it gives an experience that you can survive a loving relationship. And so the more of these little examples that you allow yourself in your physical world, you're reprogramming your brain to see that there doesn't have to be a shoe that drops, right? There doesn't have to be something bad that happens. You're welcome so much, Dominique. I'm glad to hear it's helping you. You don't have to wait for all of that stuff, right? I mean, it's gonna happen. It's practice, and this is something else. I'm telling you, I'm working with this new teacher, and I was ready for her because of the way she communicates. And when she talks about manifestation, and I'm going to be talking about this more deeply, abandonment. You survived abandonment, right? You survived abandonment. You know how to survive abandonment. You don't know how to survive a loving relationship. Exactly. Well, you know what? And I'm sorry, people, Barb, and this is for everybody. She's talking about, and I know her history and everything, and I know she's got a lot of abandonment in her life. But you know what? Shift your thinking, because, you've got me. I haven't abandoned you. You've got an entire new community who hasn't abandoned you. Right? And all of us, I know all of us are here loving you exactly the way you are, warts and all. So yeah, you know it, but now it's time for you to know it, and now it's time for you to integrate it, and now it's time for you to start talking to your brain and saying, look, here's the deal. I know that we know how to survive abandonment. But check this out. We've created a community where people love us anyway, right? People love us anyway. So let's see what other kind, and we're surviving it and we're thriving with them loving us anyway. So let's see what other kind of relationships we can invite in and have more of this, whether it's a life partner, whether it's a business partner, no matter what it is. And Jen, I just saw what you wrote about love and approval and working on that. You don't need to be working on it. Okay, people? Seriously, I on my life, I did not feel worthy enough of having this relationship that I have now. And I have had it for 8 years. And I have a couple of clients who I help them get attract their life partners. And let me tell you, people, they don't feel worthy of these relationships. And the relationships are freaking amazing. I promise you, you do not need to feel worthy. Here's your big aha. You do not need to feel worthy of the universe's gifts. You only have to say yes. Do you hear me? You do not need to feel worthy. You just need to say yes. That's all. All the other crap is the old paradigm. Get over your issues, blah, blah, blah. You know what? Heal your emotions. Absolutely. Heal your emotions. Because when you heal your emotions, you start to feel better about yourself. And when you feel better about yourself, after you've said yes to those gifts, even though you don't feel worthy, you can start enjoying them. There's nothing freaking wrong with you. I'm getting off my soapbox and I'm getting back to the reading. And so, there's the shift. Exactly, Barbara. There's the shift. Wait, I'm reading everybody. I didn't know I have to be with him because I have Pastor. He's so different than my ex. But I mean, this shit, man. I can't even continue to get the words out. Just feel into the energy of it. Seriously. Because honestly, people, if we needed to feel worthy in order to have good stuff happen to us, in order to receive gifts from the universe, in order to receive God's love, the divine love, in order to connect to the God or the goddess that you are, there'd be very few people on this planet who would be not homeless, who would be smiling. I mean, just I'm overwhelmed with the energy. I really am. I'm overwhelmed with the energy. Just please know you don't have to feel worthy. You really don't. I'm sorry, I got everybody crying over here. You just don't. You only have to say yes. That's it. One of our people in Spiritual Perfectionists Anonymous, she's waiting to hear back if she got this job or not. She feels like she tanked the interview, but she said yes to the possibility of this job that she didn't believe that she was worthy of. And I'll tell you what, because of her survival mechanism, right? You know, she didn't go in as prepared as she normally would. And let me tell you, I've been working with her for a long time. This woman is prepared for freaking everything. So she let that whole I'm not worthy kind of take control a couple of times. And so she didn't go in as prepared as she should be or should have been. She might still get the job. Because they didn't end the interview after 5 minutes. They continued the interview. And they went after her. She didn't go after them. And I'll tell you what, whether she gets the job or not, and whether she believes she's worthy or not, the universe has shown her that she doesn't need to feel worthy in order to get the gifts, because she was headhunted. She was offered the opportunity for this position. You know, then the human gets in the way. All right, the human gets in the way. Oh well. Oh well. So if she doesn't get this job, she knows now that the professional community sees more in her than she sees in herself. Simply because they invited her in to have a talk. Okay, so let's get back to the reading because, well, you know what? The aha moments, here they are. The aha moments are just in that whole little preaching thing I did. They're in those moments of truth, aren't they? And so if you go back and you consider everything I talked about today and all your other aha moments, they always show up in those moments of truth. So this week, and we've already gotten it. So many of you here have already gotten it. Clarity. More clarity is going to show up. Okay? I'm really happy about that, even though it's Mercury retrograde. The stillness and the quiet is what's going to be supporting you. Finding those moments of stillness and quiet so that you can get that clarity and so that you can reconnect with the God that's within you, because you are God or goddess, whatever word you want to use, divine, divinity. Letting go is going to be that challenging energy, but you know what? You all just let go of a bunch of limiting beliefs simply because I rephrased a spiritual truth that you already know. And guess what? You survived. Hello! You can do this. You can totally do this. Connect with your truth. Remember your truth. The truth is going to show up for you. What do they say? The truth sets you free. Just let it happen. And the truth is, you are divine, you are God, you have the power within you. Right? So, 3 times I want you to say out loud. Let's activate this. I call on the power of the God within. I call on the power of the God within. I call on the power of the God within. I align with the truth of my divinity. I align with the truth of my divinity. I align with the truth of my divinity. I activate the God within me. I activate the God within me. I activate the God within me. And so it is. Woo, baby. I love how that lifts energy. It's pretty crazy. So, my beautiful friends, one more time, the energy of the upcoming week is clarity. Angel of stillness and quiet is here to support you. Your challenges are going to be in letting go, but you've already let go and you survived and you're thriving and you've lived through it, and your truths are where your ahas are showing up. I'm so happy for you guys. I'm really excited, especially if you stuck with me through to the end of this today, because I know it was long. Please, I'm going to put it up on YouTube and I'm going to share it and all that. Share it with the people that you feel like can benefit from this, seriously. I am Robin Link. I'm also the creator of Spiritual Perfectionist Anonymous, which is a free Facebook group. And I would love for you to join us, because that's where we work on stuff like this together, and we support each other in being human. We support each other in our spiritual quests. And let me tell you, people are manifesting jobs and partnerships and houses and all kinds of stuff simply because they're learning how to accept their humanity, their humanness, and letting go of their perfectionist tendencies. Thank you guys all for being here. From the bottom of my heart, I love you. I really, really love you. And you so got this. You don't need to feel worthy. You just need to say yes. You don't need to feel worthy. You just need to say yes. You don't need to feel worthy. You just need to say yes. Bye-bye, guys. I'm out. If I can get the broadcast to stop. Look at that. It doesn't even want to stop. Is there anything else I need to say? I guess not. Speaking of Mercury retrograde, right? I think I might have blown up my phone. No, I did not blow up my phone. Hey, ta-da, seriously. Give me a contribution here so this thing ends. Oh, holy crow. I'm switching this around. You know what? While I'm doing this, I'm gonna put this on the Spiritual Perfectionist Anonymous page so people can see it. Maybe that's what it wants. Yeah, you guys laugh at me. See, this is human. It seriously does not want to stop. Okay. All right. Bye, everybody. I'm going to figure this out, and I'm going to have to do a lot of praying that it works. Give me a prayer that it saves, because we need to get this one out.